guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm at work, but I mean, I'm very psyched about this. So I was very keen. So I'm using the boardroom now. So
out in there.
Yeah. Just a little bit more on your guys' selves, just to get to know you on a little bit more personal side. So, anything about yourself, whatever you like, just so we get to know you on a more personal capacity before we get into the fundamentals.
Okay. We've been working together for about 10, 12 years now. We were on the show before called Gumball. Amazing World of Gumball. We both worked on that show. I was the director-writer. Tony was the editor for the whole series. So we've been working together on Gumball, and then we worked together on Elliott From Earth. Background for me is kind of like animation. I've always been working in animation. Same for you, Tony?
Yeah. I've sort of just mostly done kids' TV and animation, and Mick has sort of dragged me up through my career. So I have to thank him for that as well. And he's not sick of me yet.
Uncomfortably by his hair.
Okay, cool. Very excited for your new show. I grew up on cartoons and cereal. That was my weekend. Seriously. Right. So as my kids are growing up, I actually try a lot to show them some of the cartoons that I grew up with, but also keeping in line with what they like. So a nice blend. So whenever there's a new cartoon comes out, case in point, you guys, Elliot, I show my daughters the trailer. So I've got a 9-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 4-year-old, all girls. Yeah. And my 5-year-old has similar taste to me. And she, as we were seeing the preview for this, I sat and showed her the trailer. She's like, "Papa, where's more?" So you've already got your first fan.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about your show? What's the crux of it for the viewers out there?
Okay. Well, basically, it's the story of Elliot and his mum Frankie, and they're on Earth, and they end up going to space. They end up. We won't give away too many spoilers, but they end up finding something on Earth that means that they can go to space. And when they travel all the way to the other side of the galaxy, to a part of the galaxy that the people from Earth don't even know is there. It's like completely off the maps and the charts and everything, and they basically end up living amongst a whole host of aliens from an incredible variety of different planets. So they basically sort of almost start up a new life there. What else is there, Tony?
The first alien they meet is a dinosaur called Mo. They don't know why Mo's there. Mo doesn't know why he's there. So it's about these three characters first of all meeting each other, and then meeting the most eclectic group of aliens you'll ever meet. And they go on adventures week by week, and then there's there's a bigger story going on as well. So it pays off if you keep coming back and watching more.
I think some of the things that will be explained as to, like, why is there a dinosaur in space? Like, you'll actually get to find out one day why that's the case.
It's funny you should say that it's just him and his mom, because I actually love that fact, because when I grew up, it was always the perfect family. The mom, the dad, the brothers, the sister, the pet dog. I came from a single parent, a mom as well. So immediately when watching this, I could immediately relate. And alright, so a lot of kids, I think I'm going to be able to relate to that, which I thought was really cool. I actually enjoyed that, and I wish I had a cartoon like this when I was a kid. It's just the little things that make a difference to a kid, because when you see the perfect thing, is like, rather than want something that's not there, you can think, oh no, this is my life. Yes, it has the cartoons and the fun, the imagination part, but there's also the core part that you can relate to. Was that just something you thought of, or did you have that same sort of thought process behind that of giving him one parent?
I think we wanted to reflect that that's not unusual now. It's like a lot of kids grow up with one parent, and also one of the things that we wanted to establish as well was that the parent figure wasn't somebody to sort of say, no, don't do this. Like, particularly a mum. A lot of mums in cartoons are kind of like standing at the door saying, what are you doing that for? And we wanted this mum to be part of the adventure. Like Frankie is a scientist, and she's just as excited as Elliot is about going to space. And we wanted that sort of inclusive feeling of and the parents are just as up for adventure as each other. They both want it. We didn't like the idea that the parent would be somebody who would not be part of the adventure.
You spoke on Mo, the stegosaurus, right? These are a dinosaur-loving family. Dinosaur toys scattered all over the house. You're stepping in them at night. What is the inspiration by creating this specific character?
You want to answer that one, Tony? Or I don't want to talk over Tony.
I don't know. To be honest, where did Mo come from?
He was basically what it was the idea of a friend for Elliot, really. It was more a friend for Elliot, and then we wanted a friend that was also as much of a fish out of water as Elliot was. So he would meet somebody in space that also didn't know what was going on. And so we sort of thought, well, okay, if this is a character like a dinosaur, it could imply that the aliens have been to Earth at some other time. You know, they've already visited Earth and they've maybe got a dinosaur. Somehow, something's happened. So the reason he was a dinosaur was actually to make Elliot feel like, well, there's somebody here from Earth like me. But then basically, but it's a dinosaur. Okay, all right. Like, we're still both from Earth. So it's not like, it's not that he's meeting somebody. It's still somebody who's very different, but still someone from Earth.
Interesting. I think that one of the key themes from what I've gathered so far is friendship and adventure. Right, so that's two things. Because obviously the friendship between Elliot and Mo is going to be, I think, the foundation of the show. And obviously you being in space with dinosaurs and all these wonderful characters, that's the adventure aspect. Yeah. But other than that, what are the themes that we're trying to drive? Because I know with cartoons, there's always a life lesson. Are we going to have life lessons per episode?
I don't. We don't want to be preachy about life lessons. I think, because that was the same on Gumball. Basically, you don't want to tell other people how to live your life, but there is, what we hope is that the stories can maybe shine a light on a good moral side. It's not like we're saying, don't do this, kids, don't do that. We just want our stories need to be fun, adventurous, and if there is a moral to it, it's not a sort of a spoon-fed, patronising moral for kids. It should never be something that we feel we're not qualified to tell people how to live their lives.
So you're saying that there are messages there, but they're more on the subliminal. If you can read into it, you can read it. If not, just enjoy the show.
It tends to be like, I think we just try and let kids come to their own decision, because it's often what you think might be the right way of doing something. There's kind of pros and cons to it, which Elliot and Frankie and Mo find out that some of the things they do are great, some of the things they do get them into trouble. At the end of the day, it's for kids to explore and work out as well.
Simple messages, like one of the shows we have in the first 4 is that they meet these two different people, this like sweet old lady and this really scary looking guy, and it turns out that the scary looking guy is nice, but the sweet old lady is not. So it's just a simple message about don't judge a book by its cover. You don't necessarily know. So, it's not a heavy moral message, but it's a sort of moral.
Okay. Again, the show is Elliot in space. He meets Mo, and they're going to go on more adventures throughout space. So this is, I actually see an opportunity here because I'm a big MCU and DCU fan. I grew up on comics as well. So the commonplace these days are connected worlds or expanded shows. Have you all considered that this could lead into an expanded universe, or you all just want to keep it a closed story?
The thing is, it's kind of huge. It's infinite because it's sci-fi as well. It's kind of infinite. So we're in the very early stages of our show. We've done in the first season 16 episodes, and we're currently working on developing the second season, which might be 40 episodes. So we're very early on at the moment. So in terms of crossover and stuff like that, we don't know yet because we haven't really had the chance to explore the worlds that we're creating within Elliot. Because it's almost like those worlds are already starting to become infinite. So we're like, okay, we've got plenty to explore, definitely, before we think about crossovers, but it's definitely something that could happen.
Hi, so sorry, just one last question, please, because we're out of time almost. Thank you.
what are you guys' process when developing a show? Do you either come up with the idea and say this would make a great show, or do you all say let's make a show and then start thinking of the idea? How does it start?
I think with basically every story we come up with is okay. Here's an idea for a story. Then we talk about it and we take the best bits about it, and then we just keep working backwards and forwards. Sort of any idea, could go to something huge, but it takes days and days of Mick and I sitting there looking at each other, trying to go, is this a good story? Is it funny enough? And it's just a long process, and it happens right the way across, even making the episodes. Once everyone turns up to animate and do everything, they have ideas. So it's such a good organic collaborative thing that there's no sort of formula to it other than just sit down every day and try and make it as good as it can be.
I think you can take any idea and work into it and make it good. It doesn't necessarily have to, the show doesn't live or die by the strength of its initial idea. It's how you do that. It's how much you put into it. And one of the things that we loved about the responses from Elliot was the kids said, well, they don't know what's going to happen next. We want it to be an imaginative show that sparks their imagination and their kind of like exploration of like, well, then you could go there, then you could do this, then you could do that. You really want to sort of make it as imaginative as you can.
Thank you so much for your time, guys. It was an absolute pleasure.
Nice to meet you.